Some stories sleep in silence, waiting in the dust of forgotten shelves, until someone brave enough dares to read them aloud. Tonight, our journey takes us deep into the heart of Eldara, a realm where knowledge breathes, shadows whisper ancient secrets, and a single mistake can awaken things far older than memory itself. Our tale begins with Nalia Ekwensi. At 16, she was never meant to be a hero. She was simply a gifted archivist, a quiet soul whose world revolved around decoding forgotten runes with the skill of a master artisan. Her hands, stained with ink and history, were her greatest tools, but one fateful day, the Serpent Scroll resurfaced. It lay there, wrapped in a shroud of dust, sealed in a faint, ancient light that seemed to hum with untold power. The moment Nalia saw it, her life, once so ordered and predictable, cracked open like old, weathered stone. For generations, the people of Eldara had been taught one fundamental lesson: not every truth is meant to be touched. Some doors are best left unopened, some secrets best left buried. But curiosity, that powerful, dangerous spark, burned brightly in Nalia. She reached out and touched it. The instant her fingers grazed the smooth, cool surface of the scroll, the very air around her seemed to fold in on itself. The floating lamps that illuminated the great library flickered and died, plunging the chamber into a sudden, deep twilight. And from the shifting shadows, a figure began to rise. It was Azu, the serpent ghost, a skeletal spirit whose form coiled and uncoiled like drifting smoke, his bones rattling with a sound like dry leaves skittering across pavement. His voice, when it came, was a calm, terrifying storm, echoing not just in her ears but in her very soul. Child of Eldara, return what your ancestors stole. Fear, cold and sharp, seized Nalia. She ran. She fled through the vast, floating libraries of her home, where glowing runes spun in the air like swarms of golden fireflies. She sprinted across impossible stone bridges suspended over astral pathways, with galaxies swirling in the abyss below. But no matter how fast she ran, Azu followed. He was a relentless shadow, unraveling from one patch of darkness to the next, a constant, spectral presence at her heels. He wanted the scroll, but not for the knowledge it contained. He wanted it for resurrection. For sealed within its ancient parchment slept the seven serpents, once the divine protectors of Eldara, now twisted into destroyers after a forbidden oath was broken long ago. Nalia's desperate flight became a journey of discovery. Every city she reached, from the sun-drenched towers of Sunforge to the crystalline markets of Darakai, and the stone citadels of Okuda, held a fragment of the truth. She pieced together the story, not from scrolls, but from whispers, from half-forgotten legends, and the sorrowful eyes of elders. Her own ancestors, the celebrated founders of Eldara, had not just defeated the serpents. They had imprisoned them. They did it to protect their world, yes, but also to hide their own mistakes, their own arrogance, their own part in the breaking of the sacred oath. The history she had dedicated her life to preserving was a lie, a carefully constructed narrative to bury a terrible secret. And now Azu, a spirit bound to the serpent's fate, had come to reclaim them, to unleash their ancient, vengeful power upon Eldara once more. The final chase led Nalia deep beneath the world, into the very foundations of Eldara. She found herself in a hidden serpent temple, a colossal cavern carved from gleaming, molten obsidian that seemed to swallow the light. The air was heavy, charged with primordial energy. In her hands, the serpent scroll pulsed like a living heart, its light growing stronger, more insistent. And there, before her, Azu towered to his full, terrifying height. His skeletal coils glowed with an eerie, internal light, and the empty sockets of his skull seemed to fixate on the scroll, on the very soul of the girl who held it. Nalia's heart hammered against her ribs, but as she looked from the ghost to the scroll, a new kind of resolve settled over her. She finally understood. She looked up at the towering spirit, her voice no longer trembling, but steady and clear in the vast, silent chamber. "Knowledge is a blade," she whispered, the words echoing against the obsidian walls, "and every blade has two sides." With a deep breath, she unrolled the scroll. The effect was instantaneous and cataclysmic. Golden runes didn't just glow, they burst from the parchment, spiraling into the air like streams of liquid fire. Azu lunged, A screech of rage tearing from his spectral form, shadows clashed with blinding light. The entire temple shook as if in the grip of a violent earthquake. Pillars of obsidian cracked and groaned, threatening to collapse. Nalia felt a searing energy surge through her hands bleeding pure light as she did the unthinkable. She wasn't just reading the prophecy, she was rewriting it, her fingers moving with impossible speed, weaving new words, new meanings into the ancient text. She poured all of her courage, all of her hope, into changing the serpent's very purpose, into finally and forever breaking the ancient, corrupting oath. Azu roared, a sound of pure agony and disbelief, as his form began to destabilize. The stolen power that held him together was being unwritten. He flickered, his skeletal shape dissolving into a cloud of drifting, dying sparks that faded into nothingness. And then, silence, a profound silence fell over the temple, broken only by the sound of Nalia's own ragged breathing. The golden runes slowly dimmed, their fiery dance coming to a gentle end. They sank back into the scroll, their light now soft and peaceful. Deep within the world, the seven serpents, their curse lifted, their fury soothed, sank back into a tranquil, dreamless slumber. And all across the world above, it was as if Eldara itself, a city that had been holding its breath for centuries, finally exhaled. Sometimes, the greatest battle we fight isn't against monsters or ghosts, but with the truths our ancestors left behind. And sometimes, knowledge when wielded not with arrogance, but with courage can do more than just rewrite a story. It can save the world. If this story moved you, inspired you, or pulled you into Eldara's shadows, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more epic tales. Thank you for watching.